The guys over at Inside the NBA started a little bit of a controversy because of this segment.
I'm telling you, I'm going to get a bunch of churros.
What kind of women are in San Antonio?
Some big old women down there.
Why would you say that?
That's a gold mine for Weight Watchers.
Why say that?
Why does every conversation about San Antonio eventually come around to...
They have spandex in San Antonio?
Oh, no. And Victoria, definitely a secret.
Oh, man.
They can't wear no Victoria's Secret down there. It's a secret.
Charles, all you're trying to do right now...
Hit him out the park.
It's like that. It's like slow pitch.
Victoria's Secret down there.
Oh, man. It's not even slow pitch.
That's a gold mine. That's a gold mine check for Weight Watchers. They down there be wearing bloomers.
All he does...
They wear big old bloomers down there, Ernie. They're not wearing no...
In the event that San Antonio goes...
Ain't nothing skimpy down in San Antonio, Shaq.
And we're there.
How do you
Charles,
like the Riverwalk?
Oh, that's a creek. It ain't a river. Come on, man. That ain't no river.
Way back.
Come on, man. That's a creek. A dirty creek, I might add.
Oh, man.
Ernie, would you eat fish out of there?
Nobody eats fish out of it.
That's my point. Well, if it was a river, you'd eat fish out of it.
You might eat fish out of it.
Well, there's a reason we don't do any of these between game shows. We're fixing to take it to San Antonio.
So over at Think Progress, Annie Rose Strasser said, quote, "It's disappointing that just weeks after the NBA was in an uproar over the racist and womanizing ways of disgraced Clippers owner Donald Sterling, no one on the broadcast seemed interested in cutting off an offensive conversation. While their discussion is obviously not on the same level, and indeed will be interpreted by many as all in good fun, it does show a general lack of sensitivity on an issue that could be easily avoided. And it comes from some of the most outspoken critics of Sterling's last month's debacle. Only at one point did Johnson feebly try to change the subject, asking, why does every conversation about San Antonio eventually come around to women? He also eventually led the conversation away from women and towards mocking San Antonio's famed Riverwalk. And it goes on and on. There's an entire article at Think Progress about outrage over this segment. So what's my response to it? I'm going to say the same thing that I said when they did a segment going after Jimmy Fallon for making a joke about Hillary Clinton's blouse. Calm down. Look, no, I've never heard anybody question my progressive credentials, okay? I'm probably one of the most progressive radio show hosts and internet hosts in the country, right? But this gives liberals a bad name. When you get outraged over everything, everything's an outrage, everything anybody's ever said, you make yourself look silly. You're saying we are anti-comedy and we're anti-free speech. That is what you're saying, whether or not you think you are. Okay? And so there's been so many examples of this, whether it was the Jimmy Fallon joke recently with Hillary Clinton's blouse, an outrageous sexist joke, whether it was Daniel Tosh, who, when he asked the audience, what should I joke about now? And somebody in the audience said, rape. And he said, yeah, really, because that's so funny. He was obviously mocking the idea that rape is something to joke about, right? And then some self-righteous idiot in the audience went, actually, rape is never funny. And then what did he do? As any comedian would, he took advantage of the moment and said, yeah, right, wouldn't it be funny if you got raped right now? Outrage all over the place of, how dare, he's pro-rape, he's in favor of rape. He's not in favor of rape. He was mocking the idea that anybody should joke about rape, and this idiot went right over their head, so he pounced on the moment, okay? He's clearly not in favor of people getting raped. That's a silly thing to say, but people were outraged over it. There were so many articles, how dare Daniel Tosh say this, he's sexist, he needs to apologize to all women, and then we talked last time. So there are so many jokes that can be said, oh, this is outrageous, this is unfair, this is offensive. Kevin James does a joke about how fat people don't need a reason to sweat. My friend would come over and say, hey, man, what, have you been jumping rope in the attic? And he's like, no, I peeled an orange about an hour ago. Why? So what, he can't do that joke because it's offensive to fat people? He can't do it because it's offensive. He's fat. Or he was. I don't know if he still is. Charles Barkley himself is fat. He went through a phase where he was gigundo. Or how about when Dave Chappelle did the sketch? I'm thinking of his show, The Chappelle Show, which is legendary. But in his stand-up comedy, he talks about how it's true that, of course, women who, dress in short skirts and, tiny shirts, they're not they're not sluts, and don't get it mistaken that, they're looking for sex. That's totally not true. However, it is confusing. It's like me, Dave Chappelle, the comedian, walking down the street wearing a police uniform, and somebody walks up to me and says, "Help us, officer, we need you." And I say, "Oh, just because I'm dressed this way doesn't mean I am this way." So does that joke have to go too because it's offensive to women? So I always say this. Bill Maher does a sketch, or a sketch. Why do I keep saying sketch? Does in his stand-up comedy, he talks about how he wishes President Obama were more thuggish. He wishes President Obama were from Compton and he wore a purple suit and smoked a Black and Mild and wore sunglasses at night. Like, obviously joking on, like, the parody of rappers or the parody of the gangsta black guy, right? Does that joke have to go because it's racist? Look, what matters in life is context. If you disregard the context, you're an idiot. You're saying, I don't care what the reality is. I'm going to pretend like it's not the same, blah, 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 blah. And obviously what they're doing there, it's not sexist and it's not weightist or fatist for them to say what they're saying. It's the idea of racism or sexism. Here's when you know something is really racist or sexist or any of that stuff. Racist means I think black people or people who aren't like me are inferior. Sexist is I think women are inferior. Okay, that's what sexism is. The idea that I'm better than you simply because of the fact, the color of my skin or the fact that I'm a male, right? So the problem with Donald Sterling is that was his belief system. His belief system is that don't take pictures with the blacks because my billionaire buddies get mad at me because they think, oh, why is she associating with the rabble? Why is she associated with the inferior race? Why are they doing that? So the idea was he thought black people are inferior. A sexist thinks women are inferior. They're not saying that fat people are inferior. They're joking around about weight. So what, we're not allowed to joke about anything? Nobody could joke about race. Nobody could joke about, sex. Nobody could joke about anything. Weight, nothing. Everything's offensive to somebody, so shut the fuck up. Look, I make my living by being offensive in many ways. This show would be off the air on day one if we had, the word police on top of me from day one and the I'm offended police. Liberals need to stop this, man. Conservatives do it all the time too, right? And I always go after them when they do it, but we're better than that. We need to actually stand up on the side of freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and we need to be pro-comedy, not anti-comedy. You could try to pretend like you're not anti-comedy by being against this, but it is anti-comedy. They're laughing. They're having a good time. They're not saying fat people are inferior.